Hi Leo, my ascendant brothers and sisters. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Raphael from Reydiant.reality. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much, so much for being here. So, right, before we go forward, I would like to say thank you so much to all of you that like, share and subscribe to the videos and the channel. Please continue to do so if you haven't already. If you want to book a personal reading, tarot reading with me, you can do so on the email address below. So, sales pitch done. This is going to be amazing for us, especially if you're a Leo ascendant, because this is about your first house, you know, but it will still be relevant for those of you that are sun sign Leos as well. Now, solar eclipse in Leo, solar eclipse in your sign. The sun, your ruling planet, our ruling planet, is in its own sign. The sun is happy, it's the lord of its home, and it's arrived back home in its own place of dwelling, where it can express all that it is, and it can bring to light and consciousness all that it's learned on its journey around the zodiac already. Before we go forward, I would like to bless this reading, these notes and these cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that whatever messages may come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, as I was saying, the sun has gone an entire year right round the zodiac. He's come home. Everything that you've learned, everything that you've achieved, everything that you've experienced over the last year, you can start to really unpack the tools that you've brought with you. Now, the sun in the solar eclipse in Leo is happening in your first house. Now, Leo's all to do with the heart, it's all to do with the spine, it's all to do with bravery, it's all to do with what your heart's desire is. It's about your strength and your courage. It's about finding those things within yourself. But Leo also represents the world stage. It represents fun, frolics, theatre. It's joy, pleasure, optimism, all of those things. And you know, not even, and it's true to say, not all Leos are extroverted. In fact, some of them are quite deeply introverted. But they tend to have an air of fun and self-confidence about them. Even if they are quiet, it's very self-dignified, you know, and that's one of the reasons Leo is you know, everybody says they're really confident. Now, when you have a solar eclipse in Leo, it's about recommitting to your heart's desires. It's going to bring you something that you treasure, something that your heart kind of calls out for. It's about finding something that you take pride in and understanding what it is that's going to make you happy, what it is that's going to bring you more joy, pleasure and optimism into your life. You know, it can even see you mentoring somebody or somebody else being a mentor to you. Now, this is conjunct to the Mercury retrograde, and the Mercury retrograde is it's about your thought processes. Mercury rules the mind, it rules communication, which is why it goes a bit awry when it goes retrograde. But for me, this is about bringing your mental focus, your mind and your communications into your heart space, so that you can really ask yourself, what do I desire? What is going to make me happy? What will bring more joy into my life? How can I be more creative? Now, not everybody is into theatre, dance, drama or music. Those aren't those things, and creativity doesn't necessarily have to mean any of those things. It can just be you finding new ways to approach the current situations, experience or challenges that you have. It can see you thinking outside of your own proverbial box. You know, so Mercury retrograde isn't necessarily a bad thing. It happens conjunct this energy of the solar eclipse, which, by the way, is also a new moon. New moons are a time of beginnings. It's when you plant the seeds of the things that you want to bring into your life. It's when you sow the seeds of all of the stuff that you want to bring into your life. Now, that's the new moon. A solar eclipse is about welcoming something in. It's a blessing of some kind that comes to you unexpectedly, usually, because the eclipse it's that surprise sort of turn up energy, and because it's a solar eclipse, it's about bringing something in or making a beginning or a fresh start. This is happening, and this is really interesting. Now think about this. As Leos, the solar eclipse that happened in Cancer was in your 12th house. That allowed you to go really deep into yourself and ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? What no longer serves me? What can I remove from my life that is genuinely just holding me back? How does my past impact my present life? And how is that present life then going to affect my future? It saw you asking some really deep questions and going really deep within yourself to ask, you know, what is it that what's just baggage? What is old karma? What are the things, you know, in my past, even possibly if you believe your past lives? You know, what have you brought with you that it's got no place anymore? You know, the solar eclipse there allowed you, the solar eclipse in Cancer allowed you a new beginning of life, to really allow yourself to release your past. Then you had a lunar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, your direct opposite, and also my sun sign, I might add. Now, that was in your 7th house. That's all to do with your relationships, open enemies, competition, partnerships, you know, the boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, all of the rest of it. You know, and it saw you having the energy to really release some stuff from there. So you've had kind of like a triple hit of this. So now that you've had the other 2 eclipses, you then get a solar eclipse, a brand new fresh start in your 1st house, in the house that represents you, your personality. It represents your physical body, the self, the ego, the understanding of self, your consciousness. It gives you a brand new start and a brand new beginning in all of these places, in all of these aspects of your life. It's like a grand reset button, and that's really, really exciting, because if you can stay conscious and really do the work of what do I desire, bring my mind down into my heart and ask myself, what are my heart's desires? What do I truly want? What do I feel is going to make my life happy, more optimistic, more joyful? How I can be more creative in just being myself, being true to myself. You know, it's going to give you the chance to really look at some of that stuff. Yeah, with the Mercury conjunction, this can see you making really amazing impressions. Like if you're making, you know, if you've got an interview, if you've got you know, interviews, job interviews, if it's anything to do with, you know, any kind of interview really, or any kind of thing where you have to put your best foot forward, or where you would, like, you know, where you have to make an impression, certainly a first impression. With Mercury conjunct, you know, Mercury retrograde conjunct this, it can see you really making a very amazing, lasting, long reaching impression. Now, that is also a double-edged sword, because if you can make a good impression, you can also make a bad impression. And I hate those terms because they're so limited, but you get my drift. Be conscious about what it is that you put forward, and make sure it is your best foot forward, your best self that you present when you're given the opportunity to put yourself on stage and shine. Okay. Yeah, things are going to improve for you vastly, especially once the period of retrogradia is over. If you haven't already, please check out the 3-part mini-series that I posted. It's called Retrogradia, a mini-series. And the reason I posted that is because on top of this solar eclipse that's happening in Leo, that's happening at the same degree that it happened at 19 years ago in 1999, you know, 19 years ago, gosh, I was 15, I think, no, I was 14. Bloody hell, how time flies and all of that. But I remember what was happening at that time. You know, marriages were breaking up around me, people that I loved and cared about, you know, friendships were ending, alliances were being formed, so many different things happened, and I remember what was happening in my life at that time to the people around me. So it's really interesting, it will be really interesting to see what happens this time around as well. So yeah, you know, really delve deep into that and think about, you know, what it is that you want to create. And more importantly, just remember that even though you'll have this period of retrogradia happening, which is only a 12-day window, but it's going to be an intense one, you know, that's a chance to you to do even more self-work in preparation for when everything goes direct, and you can just, you know, like the little rabbit that the dogs chase on the track, you can just shoot straight off and just go for it. Now, what else? The Venus Chiron opposition is definitely worth mentioning, because can see you thinking long and hard about what you can learn from others, their ways of life and their backgrounds. It can also see you healing some wounds, you know, with people that are at a distance from you. So this could be, you know, gosh, anything from news from overseas, or people from, you know, from a distance from you, you know, call in to say, look, so and so's not very well, you know, because Chiron represents healing and wounds and stuff. But it can also, for you personally, see you really healing some. It will see you asking the questions of, why do I have certain opinions? Why do I ascribe certain meanings to certain types of people or certain places? Why, you know, it can even see you addressing why you're scared to go to certain places. If you have any fear around traveling to certain places, you know, it can see you asking why. I mean, I've got one that's quite a childish one, but you know, I'm sticking to it because it feels right to me. But anyway, Jupiter, yeah, and the Jupiter square that's taking place to this event is definitely worth mentioning. It can see us wrestling with our need to be, yeah, so it can see you wrestling with your need to be autonomous, your need to do what you need to do for yourself. It can see you asking, you know, because this is how the Jupiter's in your 4th house. Jupiter's expansion and growth, and you know, it adds strength and energy to everything that it kind of comes in. It magnifies and amplifies things. A square energy is something that you're uncomfortable about. It creates enough uncomfort within you to make a change. But in this configuration, this kind of feels like you know, you've got all these plans and changes and far-reaching ideas that you want to start to implement. You know, this new change of self you want to come in. But there might be some, you know, yeah, almost like home or family responsibilities. And, you know, it's asking you to be kind to the people that you live with in the same house, or even your family if they say they need you. You're going to want to be off doing all of these amazing things, which is wonderful, you know, and absolutely do them. But don't forget that you might at some point need to balance that out with what your family requires from you. Yeah, it looks like you're going to be finding... and also, it's worth mentioning, there is it's a semi-sextile happening between Mercury and Pluto that's going to happen in there. And I've forgotten the houses because I haven't written them down. But sextiles in general are very transient things. They're opportunities that, unless you're really diligent, unless you really look for them, you know, they tend not to show up. Now, the eclipse point anyway is, you know, its own energy that's happening in your 1st house, and then Pluto and Mercury as well, and then Pluto is about depth, it's about transformation, it's about changing something. This could see an opportunity coming your way that it might not seem like much, but if you follow it, it has the potential to really be a game changer for you. This is the thing with sextiles and semi-sextiles, is they're quite, you know, I almost see them as like dinky opportunities. But if you're diligent and you do the work on it and around it, and you take that opportunity, it has the potential to become something really special. So think about it. It will be an yeah, it could be to do with your work, or something that will put you in a position to really excel or be celebritized in some way. So think about that. If there's an opportunity that is to do with work or your career, or, you know, anything in those sort of areas of your life, you know, and even in, you know, this sort of stuff, think about it. Don't just dismiss it straight away. Do the due diligence around that thing, that opportunity or that offer, because it might offer you more than you ever imagined. So yeah, let's see what the cards have to say. What is your message for the eclipse? You get the star. I mean, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. The star is about, it's about hope. It's about a glimpse into your future. It's about asking, well, you know, you're going to be doing the asking yourself. The hope, the star card comes along, it represents Aquarius. So this is about your tribe. It's about distant places. It's about long-reaching effects within your life, like 17 to 21 years. The foundations off the back of this eclipse that are being laid will have very, very far-reaching, and I can't think of a better word than consequences. Ripples is a better one, because this is a really hopeful, happy card. It means that you're about to have a glimpse at the future that you really want and desire, and it can truly be something amazing and magical. The Star card is always a blessing, always. It never represents anything difficult. It's always something that is really really beneficial, really beautiful, and like I said, it's a glimpse, it's a little look into your future to say this is what you could have if you really stick to your guns now. Leo, I wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance itself. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you very soon for more videos. Take care.